I've tried before. I'll get like 40, 50 pages into something and then I'll just lose interest and go on to something else. I have considered writing and posting it like on my website, like fan fiction kind of thing, but that takes a lot of time. I don't know if I have that time. And it probably wouldn't be this story anyway, because this story, I don't know. I'm really hesitant, because the whole thing is, I don't know if it would really work as a real story and not just something in my head. Even to me, some parts of it sound kind of silly, and until I hammer it out to where I think it would make a good story, I don't really want to share it. So why don't I do something else instead? Why don't I share something that I think is a little firmer, that would be a good story? If I ever wrote like fan fiction or something and put it up on my website, this is what I would be writing. Not my books, but this. You guys know I love anime, obviously. I'm a very particular of shonen anime, which is like the Naruto, the Bleach, the Dragon Ball Z, the things that are very combat intensive. The guy starts off weak and trains and gets stronger. Those kind of anime. I really love those. Okay, well, whatever. I'll just get behind them. And those kind of anime. And I always thought, you know, like, bleh, I'm losing my train of thought. Actually, I'm getting nervous. I'm too shy to talk about these because people are going to think they're stupid. Oh, who cares? People think most of the things I do are stupid anyway. Every time I watched an anime, there would always be things where I would dislike about it. Like, I can't believe they did that. One of the biggest things is leaving characters behind or making characters out to be jokes. You know, like Dragon Ball Z was the worst. You know, Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, they were some of my favorite characters, and they just got completely forgotten. Even like Bleach, one of my favorite anime, it's almost like they just treat Chad and Ishida and Inoue as jokes. They're just jokes. They're just there, like, oh look, they trained really hard and they got strong, but not really strong. Not really. They're still pretty weak. I mean, once they go up against someone who's an actual villain, they just get their butts handed to them. And I hate that. Why are you going to be a main character in the story if you're just going to be left behind like that? It just makes me feel so bad for them. Bleach is excuse me. Bleach is kind of really bad about it because they'll do like, they train and you think, alright, we're really badass now, and then they'll show it off, and then they'll get to like an Esparta and just get completely schooled, and you're like, well, crap. Never mind, they weren't that strong at all. You teased me. Inoue was another one. Like, Inoue, what the hell happened to her? She had like these, you know, little fairies that would come out and they would help her, and then nothing. Nothing. She does nothing. All she can do is she can like heal things now. And it's like, what the hell? She had a fairy that could like attack things. Why didn't they play with that and give her evolved powers with it and stuff? And nope. Nope. This is all an Ichigo show. And the other thing I didn't like about a lot of these anime, every single one, the main character, and not that I don't like about it, I just think it's overdone. And like every shonen does this. Every main character is, like, the protagonist is incredibly powerful. They just don't know how to use it. Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. One Piece I'll give it credit for, because One Piece, it's not like, well, I was going to say, it's not like Luffy just has tons and tons of power he doesn't know how to use. Luffy, they were actually very inventive with Luffy. I guess Luffy is how you pronounce it. Because, I mean, come on, he's a rubber man. And when you first hear about that, you're like, what the hell? But the way they use him is actually really cool. And Luffy, a lot of it was more about, less about him getting stronger. Like, it's less about Luffy having enormous inside energy, and more about him just learning how to use his powers better, which I really like. I really like that part. But even Luffy, like later on you find out he's got the, was it the Haki or whatever, which is like 1 in 1,000 people have this. It's an amazing ability. It's like, oh, of course. And I suppose you kind of have to. That's why they're one of the strongest characters in the anime. But it's like Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball Z. It's the main character in all of them. It's like they have enormous amounts of energy. Naruto just has this torrent of chakra. Ichigo has this torrent of spirit energy, and it's basically like it was always there, they just don't know how to use it, and it's just, they're amazingly powerful. And you know, part of me, it's overplayed. It really is. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm sorry, I'm back. Or like Goku, you know? Goku just has this amazing, Vegeta says it himself, a natural ability that he could never overcome on his own. And in a sense, I actually respect Vegeta more because Vegeta didn't have this. He didn't have this natural ability, or I mean, he did, obviously, but not like Goku did. He had to work for it, harder than Goku did. And Goku even says it several times, you know, like later on in the series, like, wow, Vegeta, you must have trained way harder than I did, because you're like even with me right now, and I went through some pretty tough training. So, you know, if Vegeta wasn't such a dick. But that's why I really respect people like Piccolo. Piccolo didn't have this enormous ability. So I almost always much preferred, like for example, if you look at some of my favorite characters in the animes, Shikamaru for Naruto, Piccolo for Dragon Ball Z, Ishida, whatever, for Bleach. They're all characters that didn't have this enormous ability. They did, but they just learned how to use what they had really, really well. I mean, look at Shikamaru. He's not very strong. His power is neat, but it's not that strong of a power. He is awesome because he can outthink his opponent. He's just amazing when it comes to thoughts, strategy, things like that. Ishida is kind of the same way in Bleach. He's not incredibly powerful. He's, you know, Quincy's would never really be a rival, a captain in power kind of thing, but he's very skilled. He takes what he has and he uses it really, really well. And I respect that more than just, I have enormous torrents of energy. So I always imagine that a perfect anime, and I always used to think this, like, you know, all the anime I love, there's all these little flaws I don't like. And if I did an anime, I would do it like this. And I started thinking about that, and I started making up a story for an anime that I like a lot. And it turns a lot of these conventions on its head. A lot of conventions on its head. Like, for example, the main character doesn't have a torrent of energy. In fact, it's the complete opposite. He has very little energy, extremely small amounts, and it's about him. Basically, he has a very small amount, but a very strong. You know, I have a quarter of what everyone else has, but that quarter is really potent, I guess you would say. I'll explain better later. And it's not about him just tapping into his natural powers because he doesn't really have any. It's about him taking what he has, what little he has, and learning to use it better than anyone else. The supporting character, like the second main character, is the one that has the torrents of energy. So kind of turn that, you know, on its side a little bit. Because to me that would make a much more interesting story. I love Naruto, I love Bleach, but it's like you always know that they're gonna pull it out because, you know, when the going gets tough, they're just gonna get angry, and once they get angry, that inner power is just gonna rage out and destroy their foes. Yeah, well, what if that inner power wasn't there? Then what? You know? I think that would make it a lot more interesting. So, and other conventions turn it on its head. In the anime I'm thinking about, the side characters never get left behind. I mean, for obvious reasons, they'll never be quite as strong as the main. You know, like they're not going to be. They'll have their moments where they're stronger than everyone else, but the point is, they'll never be left behind. There'll never be a point in the series where they're just nothing compared to the main people. You know, because I hate that. You grow these characters, you start to like them, you really start to enjoy them, and then they get left behind. And I much prefer, like One Piece. One Piece is another reason why I really like that anime, because they don't do that. Luffy's crew is always really good. They all grow stronger together. And I love that about One Piece. You know, it's not like Luffy just gets so amazingly more powerful than everyone else, and everyone else just gets left behind and forgotten. No, they may not be as strong as their captain, which should be the case, but they all evolve, and they are all always a threat to be dealt with. And I kind of wanted an anime to do that too. Another convention would be, you know, this is another one. There's always this older, wiser teacher kind of thing that, you know that he's powerful. You know it, but you never get to see it until like 106 episodes down the road. So you always know that he's this badass, but you just never get to see it, and it kills you because you're like, I want to see him fight, and it's there for a reason, so that when you finally get to it, you know, when you finally saw the Hokage in Naruto bust out his moves against Orochimaru, you were like, oh yeah. When you finally see you know, Urahara or the Captain Commander of Bleach go all out, when you finally see Whitebeard go all out, you know, you were excited. But I kind of want to turn that on its head. You take that older, wiser badass, and from the very beginning, you have him strutting his stuff, kind of thing, just so that, I don't know, so it's different. But okay, so here's the basic premise. I'd call it Arena. Because, and I'm still working on the backstory a little bit, but basically, they're in the land, you know, there's a land with two kingdoms, or two major kingdoms, and they did something, they had wars like all the other kingdoms did, and they did something that almost destroyed the world. Like, they called upon magic or power or something that almost destroyed the world. I don't know. You know, the details are a little etchy. I'd have to work on that. But because of this, because they almost destroyed the world, they made a pact. The gods made a pact saying that you can't have war anymore. No more wars. You're tearing this world apart. We won't have it. If you guys commit war against each other, then we'll send down some sort of divine punishment or something. The details right now aren't important. The concept is what's important. That these two countries cannot go to war with each other. What they do instead is they have basically gladiatorial combat. Champions. You know, instead of having armies fighting armies, you have one really good person versus another really good person in an arena. And yeah, I know this isn't any new concept, but bear with me. And so this basically started the development of arena fighters, and it becomes a sport. And 9 times out of 10, they do it for entertainment. And once in a while, when the two countries have a grudge to settle, they'll do it for real, to the death. But for the most part, it's mostly just like a sport. The way the world is set up is that a long time ago, there's humans and there's elves. And that's pretty much it. Just humans and elves. And a long time ago, humans used to be up on top. And they used to fear the elves, because the elves had magical abilities and humans had none. And since the humans were on top, they would repress the elves. And, you know... And then the elves finally rose up and they rebelled and they defeated the humans. And now the roles are kind of reversed for the past several hundred years or so. Humans are... They're not really slaves, but they're kind of like... treated like... favorite puppies, you know? Oh, look at the humans. They're so cute. They're not really important. They'll never hold positions of power or anything. And they could never really be as good as us because they don't have magical abilities like we do. But, you know, they're not slaves. We take care of them. That kind of thing. But they're always looked down upon. And so basically the roles are pretty much completely reversed. And only elves are arena fighters because only elves have magical capabilities. And you have to have them to make it in the arena.